Hi, it's Chris, and this is my review of reading through the Bible in a year chronologically. Tonight being October 10th, 11th already. Whew, it's going by. It is going by. So tonight we read the story of Jesus and the faith of the Gentile woman in Mark 7, 24 through 30, and Matthew 15, 21 through 28. And then we see Jesus healing a deaf mute man in Mark 7, 31 through 37. And then Jesus heals many people in Matthew 15, 29 through 31. Jesus feeding 4,000, Mark 8, 1 through 10, and Matthew 15, 32 through 39. And the Pharisees demand a miraculous sign, Matthew 16, 1 through 4, and Mark 8, 11 through 13. And then the yeast of the leaders in Mark 8, 14 through 21, and Matthew 16, 5 through 12. That was our reading tonight. So some highlights that I picked up on in the faith of the gentlewoman. This is one of my favorite little stories because this Gentile woman comes to Jesus. Hey, remove this, get this demon out of my daughter. Get her out of there. I want this out. You can do it. I know you can. He comes to her, but Jesus isn't giving her the time of day because she's not a Jew. She is not the person that he is sent to take care of first. And he says, the woman, the dogs, it's not right to take the food from the children, give it to the dogs. And she replies back so smoothly, because this was an insult. She was called a dog. But she says, even the dogs will eat the scraps from the master's table that fall on the ground. She knew it was only going to take that much. And she knew she wasn't a Jew and one of the chosen people, that God's favored people. But what she did believe was that it didn't take anything for him to do that. And that she could participate in his love and his power just by believing. So that was pretty cool. It says, dear woman, Jesus said to her, your faith is great, your request is granted. And her daughter was instantly healed. And then Jesus heals the deaf mute man. And this was also interesting, and this is something I picked up on it. I've been doing a little bit of demon study lately about how demons kind of operate, reading a lot of different places. Jesus did a lot of driving out of demons here. We just just talked about the story of the woman asking Jesus to remove the demon from her daughter. We saw that, and so there was a demon there. And I don't think today we really recognize the demons like they did then. But not all things in people that are not good. See, in this particular case, there was a deaf and mute man that Jesus healed. This does not say he drove out any demons. This says what he had done was he put his fingers into the man's ears, then spit on his own fingers. He touched the man's tongue and looked up into heaven. So he prayed, he sighed and said, "Ephphatha," which means be open. And instantly the man could hear perfectly and his tongue was freed and he could speak plainly. This does not talk about a demon possession. He's talking about a healing here. And it wasn't. And Jesus took him alone off to the side to do this. He didn't do this in front of other people. So that intrigued me. And then the other thing that intrigues me that I still have not dug into is Jesus told the crowd not to tell anyone, but the more he told them not to, the more they spread the news. And we see this as a kind of a reoccurring theme, that Jesus would tell people not to talk about his healings and his miracles. And why did he do that? And why did the people say it? Was that a tongue-in-cheek? Was that a disrespect of the people? Is that Jesus saying it because he knew it would do more? I have questions. I don't have answers, but it's there anyway. And we have Jesus healing many people, a crowd of people, and because of that, they kept bringing them, so he heals them. They kept bringing them, so he heals them. And then after 3 days, he's got a crowd of people that have been with him. The people run out of food, so he says, hey, let's feed them. Disciples, let's feed them. And they're like, how? Oh, well, and so Jesus has to ask, how many loaves of bread do you have? Oh, we got 7, maybe a little bit of fish. So he sets everybody down and he feeds them again. 4,000 people this time. So the Pharisees demand a miraculous sign. So the Pharisees said, you gotta give us a sign. So Jesus says, hey, you know the saying, red sky at night means fair weather, and tomorrow red sky in the morning means foul weather all day. You know how to interpret the weather, but you don't know how to interpret the signs of the times? Come on, guys. You have been studying this. Look at what you're seeing. Observe. It's not just this. I'm not coming here to attack your way of life. I'm attacking your heartbeat, and get it together. Understand. He says, you guys are asking for a sign. The only sign I'm going to give you is the sign of Jonah. What happened to Jonah? Oh, he spent 3 days in the belly of the fish. He was gone for 3 days. Just like Jesus will spend 3 days dead and be resurrected on the third day. Then we've got the whole part about the yeast of leaders. Right after Jesus feeds 4,000 people, his disciples, his 12 apostles are like, he says, hey, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and of Herod. And immediately they go, well, it's because we don't have bread. They'd forgotten bread. Oh. Jesus gives them, he says, what are you guys talking about? Have you no clue? And again, this should hit home to us, is how far do we take our worry? You know, he's not yelling, but he's trying to explain to these people, his followers, that don't worry about that food. I've got that covered. He tells us again, Jesus tells us specifically not to worry about those things as well. Worry about that which can kill the spirit. So, but he tells them that. He says, hey, in Matthew it covers it a little bit better. They understood that he wasn't speaking about the yeast and the bread, but about the deceptive teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. It's something we got to watch out for, the deceptive teachings of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And that would be just again, they would teach very legalistic things, and they would even teach things that were against the commandments because it was for something that they thought was better or right. And so something to be aware of even today, the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees, the yeast of false teachers. So the yeast of the Pharisees and of Herod. Herod was not a Jew. He was not a Christian. He wasn't obvious. Nobody Christian was a Christian. Christ followers. But he was not a Jew. And so he would not have been teaching anything that was any usefulness. And that's what we know happens today. So we need to be careful what we're being taught and how we're doing that. So, yeah.